Good morning. It's Friday, March 6th. Here's what we're working on.
I'm Simone Gavros reporting live in Hamilton. The city is investing more than $150 million to repair and renew roads across the city.
A man already in custody for human trafficking has now been charged in a Hamilton murder.
That's tipped wide by Fox. Zibanejad knocks it down. Shoot, scores!
And make that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 losses in a row for the Maple Leafs. We have reached the first Friday in March. It feels so good, TGIF. Are we going to feel good about the weather this weekend, Steve?
It's going to be warmer. We'll see some sun, probably later on. But today, tomorrow is going to be actually gloomy is kind of our favorite weather word today by the looks of things. So just after the top of the clock, let's have a look and see what's happening on the roads right now. And again, gloomy really shows as you head out the door this morning. So there's down towards the Niagara area, we are seeing a little bit of, I don't say fog, but sort of rainy, drizzly conditions out there. Also, we're getting some reports in higher elevation. You live in a higher elevation or are going to a higher elevation the next hour or so, just be aware that there could be some roads that are a little on the slippery side because the precipitation that we got yesterday in the form of rain did freeze in some areas overnight, so just be careful when you're heading out the door. I had to wait 10 minutes for my windshield to defrost this morning, and I don't really like to do that at 3:30 in the morning, sitting in the car by yourself, because it was so thick I couldn't even scrape it off. So again, if you're heading out the door the next little while, just check your vehicle, especially on higher elevations. Traffic, though, after all my complaining, is doing okay to start the day. So I got something else. I don't have anything else to complain about. All right, let's check on here. QEW east of Brant Street, traffic's building up here as we would expect. But again, higher elevations run around the Red Hill. We're getting some reports of some slippery roads. So just again, higher elevations out there. Just be careful when you're heading out the door. Could be your driveway or your sidewalk could be the worst part of your travels today. So just looking up towards the 403 and Glen Aaron Drive, also seeing no major problems out there. So again, good start to the day if you have your car in a garage, unlike mine, which you had to clean it off a little bit. So you may want to spend 5 minutes just to get that going this morning. But we'll check more traffic and your weather in a few minutes.
Thank you, Steve. Speaking of getting up and going, drivers in Hamilton already know that many roads are in need of a little TLC. Now the city of Hamilton is investing more than $150 million this year into road and transportation projects across the city. Simone Gavros joins us live from Barton Streets with more. Good morning, Simone.
Good morning, Rick. And of that $150 million, $106 million is going to go towards specifically repairing roads and repaving roads across the city. As we know, potholes are one of the main concerns that many drivers have been experiencing. And here at Barton Street and Ottawa, this is just the conditions of the road that we're seeing where those potholes are very prevalent. But of course, this isn't just a Hamilton issue. We've been seeing this across a number of other cities as well. But the city is going to be prioritizing fixing the roads so that it makes for a smoother and safer drive for people across Hamilton. Now, the city says resurfacing projects will take place across a long stretch of Barton Street from Kenilworth Avenue to Emerald Street. Repaving will also be done along Charlton Avenue near St. Joe's Hospital. So that's John Street to James Street, then along James Street from Charlton to St. James Place, and then Charlton Avenue West from Queen Street to James. Crews will also work along King Street in Stony Creek near Centennial Parkway. Now, there's been no timeline given just yet, but the city says those will all be provided as the schedules are finalized. Hamilton crews complete around 70,000 to 90,000 road repairs every year, with pothole repairs being done year-round. The city says it spends about $3.5 million per year repairing potholes. Now, some other projects that are going to be done across the city this year include the one-way to the two-way conversion along Main Street at the Delta. But for now, things back over to you, Annette.
Okay, thanks very much. The Israeli military has launched a new round of airstrikes on what it calls regime infrastructure in the capital, Tehran. It is the 14th wave of strikes on Iran since Saturday. Heavy bombing's been reported in Tehran and Shiraz, where rescue operations continued this morning. On Thursday, sirens warning of Iranian missiles went off repeatedly in Israel, with one apparent use of a cluster warhead. No injuries were reported.
Canada's top soldier says meetings are set this morning to discuss helping Persian Gulf states defend themselves against bombing from Iran. General Jenny Carrigan says following talks, allied militaries and the Canadian Armed Forces will present a recommendation to the federal government. While she did not know what form the help may take, she reiterated that Canada is not taking part in the U.S. operation.
A Hamilton man already in custody on human trafficking charges now faces a murder charge. 29-year-old Eric Canaleos has been charged with first-degree murder after a deadly shooting more than 2 years ago. 29-year-old Daniel Musafiri was shot outside of a pool hall on York Boulevard and Queen Street in downtown Hamilton in late December of 2023. Police believe the two men did not know each other but got into a brief verbal exchange before the shooting. The gun and vehicle used in the shooting have not yet been recovered.
More than 100 workers at a plant in Brantford are on strike. 116 unionized steelworkers at Slaycan Industries walked off the job earlier this week. They make pole line hardware for electrical transmission, distribution, and communication networks. Union members overwhelmingly rejected a contract offer that would see the removal of their retirement benefits. They're also looking for more than a 2% wage increase. The workers tell CHCH News the strike comes at a crucial time.
We sit on the eve of the Ring of Fire pipeline, which not only do we make the hardware for, we own the patents for the hardware, and we are integral to this project moving forward.
The Ontario government has announced an accelerated plan for road construction to Northern Ontario's mineral-rich Ring of Fire, roads which will need utility poles.
Niagara's regional chair is now changing his tune on amalgamating Niagara's 12 cities and towns. In a letter to the province, Bob Gale says he's heard significant criticism and is now proposing changes to regional council instead. Gale suggests limiting Niagara Regional Council to the 12 mayors and the chair, reducing the number of regional councils and introducing weighted voting based on population. For example, St. Catharines would get 8 votes on regional council, while Pelham, for example, would get 1. Pelham's mayor, though, says he'd prefer a more balanced system with 1 to 3 votes per municipality.
Then that way, if there was indeed somewhere a decision that had to be made, the smaller ones would still have enough votes to overrule the more populated centers.
It's unclear if Gale has dropped the idea of amalgamation altogether. His office has repeatedly declined several interview requests from CHCH News. Paper report cards are coming back to Ontario schools. Most school boards use electronic report cards now in a dedicated portal or password-protected email. It's a system that has caused access problems for parents. The Press Secretary for Education Minister Paul Calandra says parents deserve clear and straightforward access to information about their child's education. The province says moving to paper report cards will make the system clearer and more consistent. No timeline, though, has been given. YWCA Hamilton has handed out its latest Women of Distinction Awards. More than 1,000 people attended an event last night at the Hamilton Convention Centre, recognizing the extraordinary accomplishments of women in Hamilton and Halton. The gala is a huge event on the YWCA calendar because it raises money for women's programs while also celebrating important contributions and achievements. This also happens to be the 50th anniversary of the Hamilton YWCA.
This organization, 137 years old, has seen incredible women in leadership working on the front lines and really changing our community for the better. And it's just so thrilling for me to be able to be a part of this for the last decade, actually, or more than a decade, to be part of this organization and now to have the opportunity to be leading it.
9 Women of Distinction Awards were handed out in the event in categories including Lifetime Achievement, Health, Innovation in Business, and Public Service.
Sportsline, it is clear that the free-falling Toronto Maple Leafs have thrown in the towel.
That's That's tipped wide by Fox. Zibanejad knocks it down. Shoot, scores! Lafreniere might have got the last touch in front.
Alexis Lafreniere scored the go-ahead goal in the third period and added 2 assists to help the last-place Rangers beat the Leafs 6-2. It was New York's first regulation win at home in more than 3 months. Toronto's Matias Michelli scored 13 seconds into the game, and rookie Easton Cowan made it 2-1 early in the second. But the Leafs went on to lose for the 6th time in a row. Now, while the Leafs are sinking, the Sabres are soaring. Ryan McLeod scored his NHL-leading 5th shorthanded goal of the season in Buffalo's 5-1 beatdown of the Penguins. Tage Thompson had an assist to extend his career-high point streak to 9 games as the Sabres picked up their 5th straight win. Buffalo has points now in 10 straight road games. That ties a franchise record. Now, today's an exciting day for hockey fans and an antsy one for some players as the NHL trade deadline arrives at 3 p.m. today. Early this morning, the Sabres acquired defenseman Luke Schenn and Logan Stanley from Winnipeg for Jacob Bryson, Isaac Rosen, and a couple of draft picks. Buffalo also picked up center Sam Carrick from the Rangers for a couple of picks. And yesterday, the Maple Leafs dealt center Nick Waugh to Colorado for a conditional first-round pick in 2027 and a 5th rounder in this summer's draft. Waugh was acquired in the Mitch Marner trade with Vegas last July. He posted 5 goals and 20 points in 59 games. Anthony Edwards scored 22 points, including this nasty dunk over R.J. Barrett as the T-Wolves roughed up the Raptors 115-107. Edwards shot 8 of 12 from the field, 5 of 8 from three-point range in Minnesota's 5th straight victory. Barrett led Toronto with a game-high 25 points. The Raptors have lost 4 of 5, but they're still in 5th place in the East. Heavyweight showdown at the Brier. Newfoundland and Labrador's Brad Gushue scored 2 in the 9th end to beat Canada's Brad Jacobs 4-2. Gushue, who's playing in his last Brier and is looking for his record 7th title, leads all ranks at 8-0 and secured the #1 seed with the win. Ontario's Jaden King claimed the 3rd playoff spot in Pool A with a 9-4 win over Saskatchewan. Alberta's Kevin Cooey topped Pool B at 8-0, followed by Manitoba and Saskatchewan. Captain Dimian Zilnik scored the only goal of the shootout as Saginaw stormed back to beat the Niagara Ice Dogs 5-4 at the Meridian Center. The Ice Dogs led 4-0 early in the 3rd period before the Spirit scored 4 unanswered goals to tie the game. Adam Juracek and Cooper Dennis each scored twice as the Brantford Bulldogs rallied from a 3-2 deficit in the 2nd period to beat Barrie 5-3. Juracek's 16th and 17th goals of the season is a new record for a Bulldogs defenseman. Hamilton's Forge FC has unveiled its list of theme nights for the upcoming season. Among the highlights is the 3rd annual School Day match on May 13th when the Hammers host the expansion Supra FC at Hamilton Stadium. Forge will have a Star Wars Nights on August 7th. Family Night is May 31st. The Hamilton Pride match goes August 22nd. And Fan Appreciation Day is October 3rd. The Hammers play their home and season opener April 4th against Atletico Ottawa. You can get your tickets at forgefc.ca/tickets. Buffalo Bills have traded a 2nd-round pick to the Bears for receiver DJ Moore and a 5th-round pick. The Blue Jays lost 9-5 against Atlanta at spring training. They played the Pirates this afternoon. And in Tokyo, Korea hit 4 home runs and blasted Czechia 11-4 on day 1 of the World Baseball Classic. Canada, by the way, opens the tournament tomorrow against Colombia.
Okay, 6:13 on your Friday. It's gloomy, as we said, and will be gloomy today and tomorrow for the most part. We may see the sun later on, but we'll get to the weather in just a second. Let's have a look and see what's happening on the roads as we speak. And it's dull and it's drizzly, and it's, again, in some areas, especially higher elevations, possibly the roads, your sidewalks, your driveway may be a little on the slippery side, and your vehicle may need some attention to the windshield with the ice scraper this morning because of all the precipitation that we did see fall yesterday. Froze overnight if you got down on around the freezing mark, which we did near my house anyway. QEW Niagara Street looking pretty good. Moving along all right. Eastbound all right. Up by Pearson Airport, traffic is building up there. So again, we're seeing the roads in pretty good shape, although be aware that there could be some slippery sections out there. So just maybe tone it down a notch as far as driving, just to make sure you get to where you need to go, and everybody else does too, safely. All right, let's have a look at our weather now. So warm air, most parts of eastern North America right across almost to the west, but also coming with that, and we talked about this yesterday, some rainy conditions, unsettled conditions, chance of drizzle most of today. We might see a thunderstorm overnight and also into tomorrow possible with this as well. Very unsettled out there. So, and we're looking again for temperatures outside right now in around the freezing mark. Mississauga, Hamilton, and Toronto -1, Grimsby right on the freezing mark. So the closer you are to the Great Lakes and our reporting stations are, the more likely you are closer to the freezing mark. So again, higher elevations, maybe some slippery conditions. Sun will be up at 6:47, down at 6:15 tonight. Normal highs still around 2 degrees this time of year. And here's a whole whack of low pressure systems, which of course is a technical term, whack of them, moving through the area. But the good news is they're moving to the north. So we're on the warmer side of things. So as we get into the weekend, and we'll notice a little bit today getting up to 5 degrees, we'll be above seasonal temperature-wise, at least for 4 or 5 days. So a high of 5 degrees today, some showers, maybe a little bit of sun later on. Not expecting that, but it's possible. And a low of 4 tonight. So the temperature's going to stay on the warm side, which means we could get some rain, chance of some freezing rain, and windy conditions tonight and tomorrow. Let's look at things for now. We'll look at the extended forecast in a few minutes.
Thank you, Steve. Coming up after the break, we're going to say good morning to Emily. She's got a preview of what's to come in Chit Chat this morning. And in business news, still empty, most former Hudson's Bay stores are still looking for new tenants. Happy Friday, Emily. What is coming up in Chit Chat this morning?
Hi, good morning. Well, there's a brand new documentary series that goes behind the lanes of professional bowling. We will take a look at the trailer.
Okay.
I was surprised from what I learned. A new trailer for Lorne Michaels' SNL documentary teases his retirement.
It's kind of an homage to him, right?
Yeah, a little bit. And later on this morning, the long-awaited The Testaments, the Handmaid's Tale sequel, is coming out in April.
All right, looking forward to that. Thank you, Emily. Checking the markets this morning, the dollar is up slightly, trading at 73.16 cents U.S. Gold is up $30 an ounce. Crude oil is up as well, trading at $83.33 U.S. a barrel. In midday European trading, London and Frankfurt are up slightly.
In Asia, Tokyo, Hong Kong, and Shanghai all closed ahead today with triple-digit gains in some markets. North American markets all dropped on Thursday's close.
1 year after Canada's oldest company filed for creditor protection, most of the former Hudson's Bay and Saks stores sit empty. An analysis by the Canadian Press has found the majority of the 96 vacated properties haven't been reopened yet. About 73 are still empty, including some of the country's most prized shopping properties in downtown Toronto, Vancouver, and Montreal. Experts say it's difficult to find a tenant because few retailers want as much space as HBC and Saks had.
There's a setback for Google in its fight against Canada's competition watchdog. The Competition Tribunal has dismissed a constitutional challenge from Google, which is accused of causing harm through its hold on online advertising. Google has been challenging a penalty of up to $91 billion that it could face if the tribunal sides with the Competition Bureau. The penalty the Bureau is proposing would either be 3 times the value of the benefit derived from Google's allegedly anti-competitive practices, or 3% of Google's annual worldwide gross revenues.
Indonesia is the latest country to ban social media for children under 16. The country's Communication and Digital Affairs Minister has signed a government regulation that means children under the age of 16 can no longer have accounts on high-risk digital platforms, including YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and X. Australia recently passed a similar social media ban for kids under 16.
A chocolate mousse sold at Costco Canada is being recalled. The product's Mellow Foods Dubai-style mousse may contain cashews and macadamia nuts that are not declared on the label. The recall is for 6 packs of the chocolate mousse. Mellow Foods says you can return the product to your Costco for a full refund.
All right, coming up after the break, Steve is going to have a breakdown of the traffic this morning and your 7-day weather forecast. Good morning.
Welcome back to Morning Live, 6:24 on your Friday, and it's kind of a gloomy day out there, drizzly, rainy. There's some icy conditions. We'll get to that in a second, but just checking road conditions as we speak. Looking okay to start the day. Ontario Street down around St. Catharines is damp. Skyway there on the Burlington side, we're seeing things moving along in pretty good shape, although on the right side of your screen heading into the Burlington area in Toronto looks a little bit busier, but again, traffic's moving okay. East of Brant Street, seeing no problems out there up by the Ford plant. You'll notice that the roads are damp, and again, in higher elevations, the possibility of some slippery conditions. Have seen a couple of notes about the Red Hill in Hamilton. So one vehicle off to the side there doesn't seem to be impeding traffic at all. So again, on the roads, just give yourself a little extra time because it is rainy out there this morning, and again, could be a little slippery. All right, let's look and see what we've got to weather-wise for us and temperatures outside. If you're just heading outside the door, in around the freezing mark in most areas. Hamilton looking at -1. On the mountain, it might be -2. And again, up in that area and in the higher elevations, possibility of some slippery conditions out there as well. We are seeing mostly cloudy conditions right now. And ahead of a low, we've seen some warm temperatures, and we'll see temperatures 3 degrees above seasonal tonight. Some rain moving through the area today. Chance of a thunderstorm tonight, and also for tomorrow possible out there before things clear up as high pressure moves in. We could see a couple of dandy days Sunday and Monday. Your day planner today will get up to 5 degrees, and we might see the sun in the afternoon. That might be a little ambitious, but it's out there right now. Your evening commute in around 4 or 5 degrees, and again, the rain should have stopped by then. The extended forecast shows chance of a thunderstorm tonight and also tomorrow. Tomorrow night when you go to bed, don't forget to move the clocks ahead. Sunday, Monday look to be the nicest days, but the temperature starts to fall midweek next week. That's it for now.
Thanks, Steve. A popular fast food chain wants to pay someone 6 figures just to eat.
So Wendy's is on a search. Now, this is across the U.S. only for a chief tasting officer. It pays $100,000 a year, and for that, you'll taste Wendy's menu items, create content, share creative feedback, and help the company keep a pulse on what is trending in fast food. The remote role also requires very little travel. Wendy's says you can expect to go places like your local Wendy's or your couch or kitchen table. To apply, candidates have to submit a video showing why they're the perfect personality hire. And they'll be able to show off their tasting skills as well. Again, this is only in the United States.
So, are they also allowed to taste other fast food items, like from
I would
items
think
from other
you'd
fast
have
food
to
places?
compare, right?
Yeah, because you need to have your finger on the pulse.
Yeah, that's right.
Of fast
You
food.
need to know.
I'll take a pass. Coming up, more news, weather, traffic on the way here on Morning Live. Good morning.